my expectation before the Talent Forum was I really want to use this chance to get to know companies in Nigeria, which I'm sure will be a great way for me to build my future career.
The expectations have been set by the career office for us that we're going to be able to interact with as many recruiters as possible, and I think that was very well met. It was really an avenue for us to speak to potential recruiters, be able to sell ourselves personally to them, and of course, because there was a pandemic and meeting physically was a little challenging. I think the online atmosphere was actually a very good one.
For me, I was hoping for a smooth execution because I was bothered about the fact that we're not doing this physically, and the Career Fair Plus app was a new venture basically. So we first had to learn how to use it before we could teach other students how to use it.
We were already excited, or I was already excited, looking at the quality of companies that were coming to meet us and get to know us and interview us during the career fair. That was, first of all, the initial point of excitement. But there was also the issue of how it was going to be, being that last year's Talent Forum was a physical event. It was held in school, and this one was going to be virtual. So we're confused as to how it was going to go virtually, if the interviewers or the recruiters were going to get very good and accurate impressions about the students.
Before the Talent Forum, our class lecturer, she has been so kind to also facilitated some of the virtual interview sections to teach us on how to respond to certain questions, and we also have some kind of virtual sections between the students.
We had been taught the SWOT analysis, and I kind of just took that from strategy and also was able to apply it in the interview sessions. SWOT in the sense of knowing your own strengths and also knowing the strength of the other company and also maybe the opportunities that they have, and finding a way to bridge that was what really helped everyone.
I had an interview with a recruiter who painted a scenario of a challenge that he had, changing processes within the business, and he asked me to make proposals on how I was going to go about changing that. And looking back at the lessons that we've had during analysis of business problems, I was able to have conversation with him and to really understand what is the objective, what exactly do you want to do with these changes, and just go through the process with him to highlight some things that I thought were going to be important in making the changes effective and engaging the team, because the questions were related to that.
It was more of management communication, strategy, marketing and sales, because right from the beginning I'd always been I'd streamlined my interest towards business strategy, sales development, marketing research, and data analytics.
LBS from the start and from the first class prepared me for this interview, because from the first day you have to actively speak, actively relate, actively communicate during your classes, communicate your ideas, communicate your thoughts, participate in class, present during sessions.
I think this virtual talent forum is really a historical move, because before I heard about LBS is doing physical talent forum. So I think it's a great milestone that we can move the things from offline to online, and which helps us to explore a lot of different possibilities. So for example, some of our classmates have an interview with certain companies under which the HR is in fact in the United States, and the interview couldn't happen if this is not a virtual talent section.
The highlights for me was that whilst it was the 18th version of this career fair, it was also the first time this was going to be virtual. And it being virtual meant that we had the opportunity of interacting with many more companies. I remember attending the last one, which was physical in school. We didn't have up to about half of the number that we had in this recent virtual one.
My major highlights were the conversations with the speakers and then the interviews. Talking about the conversations with the speakers, something that really stood out for me was their emphasis on data. I remember Alex saying that it's very important that we should be vulnerable to data. So the use of the word vulnerable was really spoke to me in a big way, because most of the time we want to spend on what we think, what we feel, and sometimes even past experiences. But we know that these days data really gives us a better basis for making decisions. And the second speaker, who was Baker, equally explained how Guinness is using data to run in Africa. For a long time, I have felt that we are not careful about storing data. So if businesses really need to grow and they need data to grow, how do they do that? I was happy to know that Guinness is already taking the lead in this and making use of data to run their operations.
So what stood out for me was, the smooth coordination. I was happy because everybody, including the recruiters, could work smoothly, seamlessly. The students had very little issues with navigating the app.
I think after this event, I realized this virtual career event is really helpful in terms of raising my awareness on the Nigerian job market and the landscape. And for instance, I've talked with different companies and they told me about how is the culture of working in Nigeria. After I talked to some companies, now we are trying to explore other options. For example, I could work part-time on some projects with them so I can prove my worth first, and then we can talk more about internship or future career opportunities. And I think this is something I would not have considered before if it wasn't for this virtual career program.
So the theme was centered around embracing change, preparing for change, and navigating through change. That's my own interpretation of it. And I mean, I think 2020 is one year where being able to understand and embrace change is quite important.
I think that in our world, which is changing, and this year in particular, where almost everything lots of things that were planned could not happen as planned, it's really important to know that change is the only constant. There are lots of things that when we have all the data together, we still may not be able to foresee. And I think that is a really, really powerful theme. And starting the MBA this year is sort of like really significant to me, because it occurs to me more that I'll have a lot of uncertainty to deal with. But at those times, we are still expected to lead. We are still expected to meet up with goals. We are still expected to live up to our values. So this is really very important to me, both now and looking at the future of being a business leader.
So I think it was a very well-chosen theme, and it totally works for us. It also helped us streamline how we're going to approach the business world going forward. What should we do right? What are the challenges we can overcome, and what tools we can use to overcome these challenges?
I think everything about the event went well. We got the application like a month before, or more than a month before the talent fair, and we were able to understand it. The talent ambassadors, myself and my other colleagues, were able to communicate how to use these applications to our classmates. We're able to book our appointments on time, select time slots, appropriate time slots that were convenient for both us and the recruiters. So all together, the career fair day was very, very super, and I'm very, very happy about it.